to see if it...
All right, so we're on video 3? Yeah, 3. And this is starting to get to the fun part because, as you know, the resealing of a tank is not the most exciting thing in the world, but putting everything together, getting all the things, filtration, and specifically the next video 4 is the really fun part where you're going to put the rocks in and things like that and really decorate it. But today we're going to start to get to the meat of this building project. We're going to be putting the filtration in. We're going to be putting in the stand to lift everything up. What I'm using is what they call window diffuser. Not window diffuser, light diffuser, because it goes on a light, not a window. And it looks like these little white rectangle like lattice work, and it works really well to break apart, to cut up, and to build like platforms for vivariums and terrariums, and you can kind of hide it. It didn't hide as well as I thought, and I have some ideas on how to fix that. I'll have to do that later because I kind of put it all together, and then I went, I have a better idea. Oh well, I'll wait on it. And that's just kind of what happens. As you might be guessing, I do have the final product behind me, sneak peek. Whoa! But we won't get to that until like video 5 maybe? I'm not sure. I'm gonna do today the filtration, and then next time we're gonna do the rocks and the decorations and the little hideaways and the substrate. And then potentially in that one, maybe the next one, I'll show you the little critters I got. Got some cool little turtle and got a cool other little frog things, and so we'll be able to see all those guys and also see some of the updates I've decided to add to the tank and make this tank a little bit more comfortable for these little fellas. But as of now, let's get to the setup process and see what we can get done today. Alright, so I have cleaned all the silicone off as much as I felt necessary. It looks pretty good, I think, in my opinion. Now we're going to go to trying to set up this filter waterfall system. This was also given to me when I got the tank itself. One thing though that I want to do is this only sits probably about 6 inches above ground. So that means there's only about 6 inches of water here. I want to try to do it as a tank where there's not only a turtle or two in the tank, but we can also have some fish. And I want to be able to give the fish some space where they can swim around, they can escape the turtle, things like that. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build like a sanctuary, I suppose you could say, underneath. What I'm going to be using is this light diffuser material. I've measured, I would like to extend that area beneath the filter about 5 inches. So what we'll end up doing is measuring up about 5 inches here and building a full grid base that this whole system is going to sit on. So what will happen is we will have this sitting up about 5 inches. So this piece will be up about 5 inches. It'll be a little bit higher so that we have a little bit more water. We can have a few more gallons of water. Therefore, we have more distribution for waste and ammonia and nitrites and nitrates. And hopefully that will allow the tank to be more utilized. What I'll end up doing is we'll create a little sanctuary underneath that the fish can actually swim through the grid pieces on the light diffuser. Now, of course, the fish would have to be small enough to be able to swim in between the light diffuser, but the turtle won't be able to fit through it. My thought is that once the fish are big enough where they can't swim through the grid, they probably wouldn't have any issue staying away from the turtle. However, I'm not really sure what fish I'm going to be putting in here, so I might end up putting fish that really won't get bigger than the light diffuser holes, and so we'll always be able to swim underneath the filtration system. We'll see. So I played with the filter, the waterfall. There's extra pieces I can add to it to extend out, but I like to kind of keep it where 1/3 is the filter and 2/3 is water, because I like more aquarium space than land space, because the turtle would just want to go up there to bask and warm up, to stand under the, or sit under the heat lamp, things like that. So we really don't need a whole lot of space. I'll be messing with this, trying to figure out how to set it all up and go from there. What we're going to do is we're going to measure 5 inches up, and then what I'm probably going to do is I'm not going to do the full 12 inches. What I'll probably end up doing is 11 inches. Now we'll do the 12 inches, that way if we need to, we can cut it down. A couple different ideas in my head. As you probably realize, we're not going to do what I had planned on doing, which was I was going to build a filter underneath there like a sump. And what we're going to do is we were going to run that up and it'll pump through and come up to the top. We're going to sort of do that. It won't be exactly that way. We'll utilize this filter over here. Oops, sorry about that. We'll use this filter over here and end up drilling holes in the bottom. And we'll put some filter media in here. There'll be some filter media here. There'll be some filter media in there. And what it'll be doing is it'll be pulling the water up into the waterfall, and through that it'll actually filter some of this as well. More than likely, I'll end up putting a canister filter. I have an extra one, and I'm going to run the line down into beneath and below, and we'll be pulling circulation in there, or pending, I'm not sure, put it over there. That will kind of get a circulation of flow. So we'll do it a little bit differently, and maybe not exactly what I wanted, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to utilize what I have without really having to pay anything majorly extra. I'm trying to keep this project, in the $50 range. That's about it. This light diffuser was, I think, $15. The silicone was like $3. What else did I buy? I think that's about it. It was just the light diffuser and the silicone that I bought, and then of course turtle food and things like that. But a lot of what I had, the rock and things like that, I'll be using from either stuff I found outside, or more the stuff that was already in here that I'll be repurposing and cleaning up. Things like that. So I've created little, I guess you could say, pillars, and I have cut, or snapped really, the piece in place to slide in. It's a little bit too much of a gap than what I wanted. I kind of messed up on the measuring, but actually shouldn't be an issue because we'll be putting some medium-sized kind of river rock, and then I'll lie along the edge and be completely okay. Something I kind of just realized with making this that makes it really easy to cut if you're okay with a mess that you'll then have to vacuum up is you can actually take this stuff, and I'm doing it with one hand because I'm holding the camera, it makes it difficult. You can hold something with like a plier or thing like that, and you can just snap it, and you end up breaking this piece down. And you can break, and break it however you want. You're going to lose a little bit because you're going to be breaking that piece in half, but it makes it go faster. Makes it a little messier, but you got a good vacuum cleaner. After you're done, you're going to have to clean up anyway, so you might as well make a mess while doing it. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take some zip ties that I have here, and we're going to run them through run the pieces through and create kind of a pillar system. I really don't want to make a full grid along the side, because the issue with that is if it was a full grid, it just kind of look ugly. Just, you'd see it. And I don't really want to do that. I want to be able to see through the tank, be able to see the fish that might be underneath there. We'll end up doing a grid in the front, of course, to allow the fish to swim in and out between the two, but along the sides, we want to leave that open. So I'm going to do that right now, and then we'll see how it fits, how it sits, and if our river waterfall system sits on top of it really well. The last thing we're going to do before we move the tank upstairs and start decorating, I suppose you could say, is we're going to take the bottom base of this filter out. Normally you would leave it without any holes in the bottom, but since we're going to have this kind of lattice looking stuff, the light diffuser is going to be there. There's going to be holes coming up. And so we want to be able to at least get a little bit of circulation. It won't be perfect, but a little bit of circulation flowing in underneath and up through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in the bottom. We're not going to use really big holes. We're just going to use a small drill bit because I want lots of small holes. That way no large debris gets in, because that's where the water pump's going to be. And so we don't want any large debris getting into the water pump. Though there will be some mesh things around it, we still don't want anything major going through. We can always add bigger holes later. We can't really fill up the holes if they're too big. So that's what we're going to be doing. Holes are drilled. Nice thing about this is if we end up changing up the setup and dropping everything down again, setting this on the ground, not going to be a huge deal in regard to filtration, because once you set it on the ground, you're going to cover up most of those holes anyway. So not a huge deal. We can be able to utilize it many different ways. So now we're going to put this back in there, and then we are going to take the tank and move it upstairs. Wish me luck. All right, so we got everything done. Well, everything we could get done at that point. We are going to now move on to the filling of the rock, which I don't want to show it to you yet, but the filling of the rock, setting up of the river, putting in the little houses and things like that, and show you really easy, cheap ways to accomplish that, and just make it look real natural and have some fun little things for the critters to swim in and crawl on and things like that. So we'll move that on to the next video. Until then, have a blessed day.